got me starting to hate. Oh, you man, won't you hurry up and start the show? Got my fingers twitching and my enthusiasm's flowing. This waiting ain't right, can't take it no more. I need those games. You may open up the door.
Sitting here, my fingers tapping on the keys. Got my hairspray and my leather-studded jeans. Rock and roll. Living in the cyber world where dreams come true. Waiting for livestream to start. It's gonna be so cool. The chat room's buzzing, the excitement's in the air. Everyone's jamming to the rockin' beats we share. Come on. Guitars wailing, drums crashing loud and clear. Loud and clear. Livestream is the place where we all belong, my dear. Rockin' in the chat room, let the music play. Livestream gonna brighten up our day. Brighten up our day. We're a family united, bringing joy and cheer. Joy and cheer. Rocking in the chat room, feel the love right here. tonight. We riot tonight. We riot tonight. Space engineers to Minecraft's domain. We'll rock the servers, leave on walking rain. With PUBG battles and epic fails, we'll conquer the game, leave behind our trails. With emotes ablaze and memes at hand, we'll paint the chat with our wild brand. Rockers rise up and let's cause a scene. In this chat room we reign supreme. With laughter and chaos we'll light the nights. You'll be stream and we riot tonight. Hell yeah, we riot tonight. We riot tonight. We riot tonight. We riot tonight. Let the rock and roll fill rage. Evil 10 bits flying, time to engage. We're a squad of misfits, united in fun. In the land of Twitch, our victory's won.
The following film is presented in its complete theatrical version. It was rated R by the MPAA and may not be appropriate for children under 17. It is rated TV MA LSV and contains strong language, sexual situations, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Now, check it out! Vanilla Thunder in the house! Dusted, ready for bed, button full of bars flowing from its head. Got hair flowing and long. Rubies dropping jokes and songs like bombs. Oh, tired, kinda like milk that's expired. Vanilla Thunder from the plains of Texas. Vanilla Thunder is coming Rexus. Vanilla Thunder, big catastrophe. That's just who he is. Our boy Ubi.
That's me. Ooh, let's bring that down. I'm a little hot. I am your boy Ubi. It is a Saturday. How you doing, everybody? There we go. Let's get everything working correctly there. Let's get the theme song off there. That's just blowing my eardrums out. I have got to get that intro fixed because our the volumes are not set correctly on that intro, so it's a little bit off. But volumes that hopefully are set correctly, because I didn't get a chance to actually test it properly before going live, because you guessed it, we had some technical issues getting everything up and going, up to and including a spilled drink on a laptop. On my end, not on Ted's end though. But speaking of Ted, it is our brother Ted. Yes, that is Ted from Ted Talks Guitars and Life. We are going to have the most copacetic interview that you've ever had on the Embrace the Suck podcast. We've only had 3 of them, don't get me wrong. But Ted, everybody's here to see you, and hopefully you're having a good... I really should have brushed this beard. It is all over the place today. Hopefully you're having a good day, my friend. How's the weather down there in Texas? Let's start with that.
That's nice. You know, we were down on the beach for a while in Florida, so coming back to Texas, it's not quite as humid, but it is warm outside. But I'm inside in the AC, so life is good.
Yeah, I miss AC. I got to tell you, it's very nice to have AC, and I don't have any. Although, I will say,
Yeah.
it's raining out there. So it is a very, very comfortable day today. There we go. I think I got our levels adjusted there. So Ted, I mean, we're going to do this like I normally do. So there's a set of questions I'm going to ask you, but I have a feeling you and I are just going to dive off into topics left and right like crazy. But let's start from the beginning. So tell me about Ted's musical journey from where it started. How did that start out for you?
This is going to sound really weird, but when I was a teenager, like 14 and a half, I got my first job, which I know today isn't like a thing, right? We don't let 14-year-olds work. I was a drug runner. Now, hold on. Wait a minute now. Let me clarify. In the small town that I lived in, there were pharmacies about 4 blocks apart. And sometimes the pharmacist will run out of medication, and you got, Helen's there to get her whatever filled, and the pharmacist runs out. So he'll actually go in the back and call the drugstore down the street. And so I'd be the kid.
Uh-oh, we lost Ted completely. We love technical stuff around here. I'm going to assume it's probably just a connection issue on Ted's side because it looks like I'm still active and live. So we'll try to get him back. So Ted basically was letting us know that he used to be a drug runner, and then obviously the drug cartels got word of it, and they've just they've eliminated that leak. That must be exactly what it is. Hey, Mitch, stand by. We got technical difficulties we're working through here. We lost you, Ted. The whole laptop crashed. Okay, yeah, you can do it, back or phone. The link should work for any of those. It's just been one of those days. That's okay. We will vamp, and when you get back, you get back. So just work on it. And it, if you have a problem, call me. All right. There we go. All right. So intermission time as we wait for Ted to take care of it. So it looks like Ted's laptop blue screened on him. That is awesome because that's the laptop I sold him, which means I have sold Ted some defective product. No, it's Windows being Windows, and I have some suspicions as to what actually caused it, but that's okay. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of vamp here for a little bit. I was not planning on playing anything, but I might grab a guitar and strum something while we're waiting for Ted to get his other laptop up and going. Let me go ahead and load that up. And we have not played the T's in a while. Let's bring out the ST1. I have been enjoying playing Vicky on stream. So, I have a Ted, it looks like. Ted, can you hear me, buddy?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine as well.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all right.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
technology happens, brother.
It happens all the time, man.
There we
Oh,
go.
look at that, my pizzazz.
Yeah, let me get your. There we go. Just trying to get your levels muted. No, we're not trying to mute Ted. We're trying to get Ted level with everything.
I would understand that if you muted me. I would not have a problem with it.
There we go. That should work there. And let's put the compressor on you. All right, that should theoretically get you where I want you to be. As Ted gets himself comfortable, since he's had to switch laptops, he's had to change his location.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. All right, there we go. Let me bring.
Well, I'm working.
Fine. Let me go ahead and bring that down just a touch. There we go. All right, we should be about the same. So, Ted, let's go back to as soon as you get yourself all comfortable there. Let's go back to that first question. Tell us about the beginning of Ted's journey.
Well, I used to run drugs in Oklahoma. Yeah, so I think we heard that story. But so anyway, at the drugstore, not only did I run back and forth between drugstores when the pharmacist needed something, they had the Muzak playing, elevator music. And to this day, we were on vacation, and I was busting out show tunes, and my wife was like, "Who are you right now?" And I said, "Baby, it's in my head." And man, my family was wild. They watched all the variety hours on TV, and my sister had a thing for Donny Osmond, and I guess who didn't? I don't know, but I didn't really. I was okay. I could live without Donny, probably. No offense to anybody that loves Don, but AM radio was my buddy. I used to go out behind the house in the garage and listen to AM radio and hear all kind of genres of music. I found a photo album, and there's a picture of me with a guitar strapped up when I was about 12 or 13. I don't know where that guitar came from. I guess maybe it was a birthday or a Christmas present or something like that. But I listened to all kind of different genres of music. But when I got to high school, and really I was in band with Plano Bass. Some of you guys know Sean. And we started a little garage band. We didn't have any instruments at all. His uncle was like he was in a country and western band.
Both kinds.
And he had a bass. Yeah, both kinds. And he had a bass laying around that he gifted to Sean, and he had an amplifier or something. I didn't have anything, so we drove down to about 40 minutes from our house was Stillwater, Oklahoma. And I put an old Hondo LP copy on layaway, and we went down every weekend, and I paid $15 or so, whatever my paycheck could afford, and I did that for about 6 months before bringing that old Hondo back, hard shell case and all that, and I didn't know what a guitar was. I really didn't. I had a Mel Bay songbook, chord book. I don't know if anybody knows those or not. And I think the most other music back in the day, there was no such things as tabs. And to this day, I don't really do tabs. I could figure it out, I'm sure, but I don't look at it and see music. It's very different for me. And so I think I did have like an Eagles songbook or something like that. But Sean and I decided that we were absolutely not going to be a cover band. Mm-hmm. We were gonna be famous, and the only way to be famous is to write your own music. So I started writing songs, and Sean wrote some riffs to go with some words. It was kind of like the Lennon McCartney thing if they were morons in small town Oklahoma. But we had a buddy from high school who had a drum kit, and he played drums. And so mostly in that band, we just practiced. So musical influences for me came more from a very eclectic genre of music that I was listening to on the radio growing up, what my parents consumed in the home, the Carol Burnett show and the Jerry Lewis Telethon. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, where they go all night and raise money, and there's all kind of artists that come on. And so I really do have a pretty wide palette for music in general in terms of what I like and what I don't. What I don't like is a small list, and it's not that I don't like it, I just don't enjoy it as other genres. So yeah, Sean and I had a little band, and we jammed. almost every day after school, the weekends. Bless his mother's heart, man. We played to the midnight hour, and yeah, she let us get away with murder. I think I've told that story a time or two. If you hang out with me, I apologize for repeating myself. I will not play the old man card this early in our conversation, Oob, but I will play it at some point.
Well, we're going to have to play the old man card because we've already talked about things that I guarantee 2 yards has no idea what we're talking about in there. For example, layaway. Explain to anybody who is under the age of 35 what layaway is.
Of all the things that I thought were going to get me in this, the gotcha moment was never layaway.
So yeah.
So layaway is, I'll be glad to tell y'all.
Go ahead.
So layaway is a process where if you want to buy something, any kind of something, a TV, $100 TV, but you don't have $100, you could tell the store that you want to put it on layaway. And so what that means is they put the product in the back, theoretically, and they do not sell it in theory. And you go and you make payments on it. And when you get all your payments made, it's your TV or whatever it is. And so that's layaway.
$10 a month, $15 a month. Mom would used to go put your Christmas presents in layaway, and back in March, and you'd go to that counter at the back of that store every week and pay them $5. And if you're lucky, very lucky, you would see it in December.
Yeah, man, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So that's the beauty of the layaway system. And, I calculated it one day. I think in $25, that Hondo was almost $400. Now, for $400, that's kind of how I got into all this, in part with the channel and talking about budget guitars, is $400 today in today's guitar market. Oh my goodness, man, you get a guitar that'll smoke that old Hondo, for $200. For $150, you get a guitar that smoked that Hondo. So, but we didn't know any better, and so it was a lot about kind of the music I was consuming and the people that I hung out with. We went to all kind of different concerts, back in the day, and very eclectic. I saw Dio. I saw A Flock of Seagulls. I saw Triumph. I saw Rush. But the eclectic nature of just how do you go from the Go-Go's to Dio? So I've just kind of got a pretty wide range of, but we'll call it interest and be kind.
Yeah,
but there was.
I think, I'll be honest, I think the best musicians have that eclectic range, even if they focus on one specific genre. What they listen to, almost to a T, for anybody that you actually look up to, they have a range of music they listen to outside of that genre they play in.
Yeah, I think there is. I am by no way a musician to the caliber of other people that are on this call right now. I don't have the comments up to see all you guys, but shout out, man. And I'm no stretch of the imagination an artist or anything, but I do believe in stretching myself a little bit outside. That goes for all areas of life, trying to get out of my comfort zone as much as possible, whether that's trying the new Thai place down the street, which I had to drag my wife to because she don't do that, or, just watching a different genre of TV or reading a different kind of book or something like that. And I think music is that way for me. And it's always interesting. There's this running conversation that happens among guitar players and lots of other people, but about music and what's good and what isn't good. And we have this kind of dialogue about, well, it's just 3 chords, and a verse or something like that. And then we all kind of laugh. And then at the same time, you have the reality of all these mega stars like the Beatles, and we could just go down the list, the Stones, and, all those cats. They're just playing simple chord progressions with a little bit of flavor. There's really not a lot of high-tech mobility in some of that. And so I think the simplified Well, okay. It's Ted, so I got stories. But so a good example of this, a good illustration of what I'm talking about. So one of the other influences in my life was the cult classic, at least it is in my mind, a little movie called Eddie and the Cruisers from like the early 80s. I don't know if anybody saw that or not. You guys don't go out and try to find it. It's very hard to find. And you probably won't like it. And if you watch it, you'll just laugh at me. But it's about a musician. And this musician basically fakes his death because he's playing the style of music that he really digs. Reminds me, of somebody who posted something a while back about authenticity and being you and playing what you enjoy instead of getting sucked into what the record companies want or what subscribers want or what other people want, and just swimming in the lane that is you. That is such a part of life in all areas of life. And since, my channel is guitars and life, I'll lean into that just a little bit. It's just about finding out who you are in your true, authentic nature, self, and living into that and letting people just kind of have to deal with the real you, which is not very popular on YouTube, where if you're chasing subs and you're chasing monetization and you're chasing, guitar companies to send you gear, then you're always pandering to an audience. You're always pretending, in my well, I won't get into all that. I will just come back to my story, though, since I was telling the story about Eddie and the Cruisers. So because the record company wanted them to maintain their old kind of rock and roll, kind of 50s kind of jams, and Eddie had written this, masterpiece that he thought, called A Season of Hell, by the way, and which was a take on a book of poetry that he had been reading, and the record company hated it. So he fakes his death. He steals the tapes, and he buries them. So that first movie is kind of all about. I'm giving all kind of spoilers because it's it's Ted.
Yeah, thanks for the 40-year-old spoilers, Ted. We appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all are dying to know what happened. What happened in Eddie and the Cruisers? Somebody tell me. Get Ted on the phone. He'll tell us. And so anyway, so the first movie is about somebody rediscovering that. Well, in the second movie, which nobody had an appreciation for, he is still alive and he's in like some bar somewhere, and there's this kid on the stage, and the kid is playing kind of like the fastest, metalist, riffiest, kind of highly technical, kind of just all breaking finger speed and stuff like that. And most of the movie is about Eddie. The guy that played Eddie is I can't pronounce his last name, so I won't even try, but he wasn't in a lot of movies. And Michael Perrier or something like that. See, I said I wasn't going to try, but you sucked it right out of me. You just pulled it right on out.
It's just the look, man.
Most of the movie is the old cat trying to convince the kid that slower is faster. And that fast is okay, but music is slow. And guys, look, those of you who are out there and you're riffing and you're metalist and you dig all that, I ain't mad at nobody. I know you want to get faster. It's one of your goals, right? In your guitar journey. So, and I wouldn't mind. Yeah,
but
go ahead.
I will say, I want to be faster in the right spots for the right reasons. I don't want to just play
there
fast,
you go.
And that's the key.
Yeah. And the kid in the movie was very much like, give me the spotlight. Every moment is my moment. The song can't breathe, all the stuff. And so I just thought it's a very poignant story just about the philosophical approach. By the way, Claire and I just broke my wife's name on the wide world of webbiness on the tubes. Actually, well, Claire is not a real name. It's just what I call her. So everybody who's my friend calls my bride Claire because that's what I call her. But that is not her government name, you understand? Anyway, So no protocols have been broken, Steve. That being said, while we were at the beach, we went and saw the F1 movie. And man, fabulous movie. I'm not into F1 racing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't, it struck me that the steer wheel looks like an Xbox, game holder thingy, technical terms. And, but that Brad Pitt's character had these expressions from his dad, and one of them was "slower is faster" or something like that. It was just this kind of like a Zen kind of a thing, but it's more about being in touch and taking your time and slowing down. And I think about Keith's work that he's doing. Teaching people about triads and just the beauty of chord progressions and those kinds of things. So all of that was lost on me back then. We were just going to be rock and rollers, and we wrote riffy kind of songs, and all of them were about, of course, females and that whole thing. So sorry, I just used the expression females. It's just, I don't know if that's bad or not, but I can say young ladies, I guess.
It's a technical term, and it's an appropriate term. So
it is a technical term. See,
nothing wrong with that. So you came up with that kind of in your teen youth and teen years and those sort of things. So then your life kind of went on with that for a little bit, but then you kind of changed paths a little bit there, didn't you?
I did. I had several change paths. One change path that I had, and I couldn't. You sent me some questions, and I did consider those. My memory is not my friend always. Again, I'm not playing the old man card. I've got other reasons for having a bad memory, but I was chasing this young lady in small town Oklahoma. This was when I can't really remember if it predates the band or came after the band or where it syncs up in the time-space continuum. But I was in her room one night, and her cousin came by. He was from some other state, and he had an Eric Clapton album. Now, if you can believe this or not, I had no idea who Eric Clapton was. I mean, so I don't know where that fits into my time period, and it wasn't like Cream, it was timepieces. So you've got Tulsa Time and those kind of songs. You would think. I think most people who know me, when you think Ted, you think Strat, you think Telly, you think kind of country-ish, kind of, those kind of songs, kind of Southern rocky kind of stuff. Not that that's what Timepieces was, but that album really kind of struck me, and the simplicity of it, and that Eddie and the Cruisers movie did something to me, because the first one, because Eddie's philosophy was, well, if we can't be great, there's no reason in ever playing music again. And I got to tell you, Oob, I took that to heart, like in the worst possible way. I was the guy in the band. I was the bummer, man. I'd tell Sean, we need to practice. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right over there. No, it goes like this. I was that guy, and I was such a jerk, man. I just became this kind of music Nazi. I know it's unbelievable because of how kind and loving and gentle I am to the guitar companies, but I was just really a big jerk, man. And one day it got to a point where I got so full of myself and thought that I had all the power in the world, and I had bought most of the equipment. I stormed into practice, and I walked out the door taking all the amps and the mic. I bought this with my money and stormed off, and it was a really bad day for me. Many years later from that. So there's a separation there between that really enjoyable being in a band, rocking out, having fun. You cross that line into, no, man, you got to be super serious. You've got to be professional. You got to get it right, get it right, get it right. To where I am now is, a 40-year journey. But yeah, man. So I did not become, this is a spoiler, rock and roll star.
No, really?
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. I know, right? Because when Cal drops that blues song that we all collabed on, you'll think, why isn't Ted famous? Oh, I love hanging out with you and everybody else. Guys, I still can't see the comments, so that's my fault. I've got a phone. I'm just not looking at it. I'm looking at the stream, but yeah, man, I went through a very rough season shortly after high school, shortly after those instances that I just mentioned. And I had a very brief marriage, very extremely brief, that resulted in me having a son who I did not meet until he was 19 years of age. No, I'm sorry, he was 17 when I met him. And that's a Hallmark movie, but it would take a very long time for me to tell it. But it ended well. But let's just say it was not a great time. And yeah, not too long after that, I was working at a grocery store in small town Oklahoma. And now, Oob, you asked me about paths, man. So if I start talking about a path that you don't think is conducive to guitar channels getting together and yucking it up, then you just stop me. But
again, this is about embracing the suck, which means that we tackle everything as about being a guitarist, and you can't really separate life from being a guitarist. So tell away.
You cannot. You can certainly try, but you cannot. But it is interesting because I worked at a grocery store in small town Oklahoma. I was in my early 20s. And these kids started inviting me to go to church with them. I call them kids. They were my age, but we worked the night shift. And at this time in my life, man, I was like, I don't know if you guys know floating the Illinois River. It's a river that runs through. We would go, and I can just remember, barely, basically sinking the canoe and drinking way too much, and them kind of dragging the canoe. I used to be a fairly hefty human being, much heftier than I am now, and. Yeah, it's kind of shocking, really, when I look at pictures. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that I did become a person of faith. I did give my life to Christ, and I gave my life to Christian service. I am a pastor. I think anybody who hangs out on the channel knows that. If that's, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to put any disclaimers. I'm just being me.
No. And that's one of the things that I plan on doing here on this particular show, is that there isn't a reason to be a disclaimer. We all have our own paths to get to where we got to in our guitar journey, and that includes what's going on in our lives. So if it's your Christian faith and your witness that helped you be the player that you are, then, brother, this is a forum to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. What's really funny about it is so the church that they all went to was a church that did not, I'm going to use the word believe, did not believe that you could have instruments in a church service. They were non-instrumentalists. Okay, so what that meant was there was nobody playing the organ or the piano or, now I had been to churches in the past. I was, whatever young lady was going, whatever church, I'd show up there. And so I'd been in churches like that. But this particular group of churches didn't do any kind of music. And so everything was what they call a cappella. It means without musical accompaniment. And so I was in this tribe of people who liked music, but in a service kind of a way. They saw this disconnect, okay? But what was so funny, they found out I played guitar. And so we'd have these fellowship lunches, and they'd ask me to bring my guitar and play. Okay, well, So here I am at the fellowship hall. We just got out of a Christian worship service, which, so you're in maybe a different mindset. And then they invite me to play at the and I'm playing, honky tonk songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, play some Merle Haggard, And but should we explain to 2 Yard who Merle Haggard is? We probably don't have that kind of time. Anyway, but so there was a real disconnect there, and I never really had an opportunity to explore my faith in parallel to my guitar playing, at least in that setting. However, the saving grace, no pun intended, for me, in my study along the way, my studies about faith and by different times and different schools that I've gone to and things that I've done in my life, I have discovered, Oob, that for me, and this is nothing I ever say is prescriptive to anybody, but for me, I think that the line between sacred and secular is sometimes a false dichotomy. I think that people make a break between what is sacred and what is secular at breakneck speeds. And I could remember being in my car one day, and I actually told my church this, and they still let me hang out, which is fun. I was sharing with them. I'm teaching through the Psalms of the Old Testament, which is basically the hymn book of the ancient Hebrews, and many people today still draw a lot of inspiration from the Psalms. I watched an interview with Bono, and he was talking about the Psalms and working through them, and I was just fascinated by his perspective as a songwriter, just on the musicality of it and the lyrical nature of the Psalms. And so I think a lot of people see a value in Scripture as literature, although they may not have any kind of faith associated with that. And it's none of that's for me to decide what people should or shouldn't think. But I think just the beauty of the psalmist, but I said to the church, I said, now church, I don't get up in the morning and turn hymns on, and when I write teachings or sermons, I don't put on Christian music. I don't even put on classical music. I put on my playlist of rock and roll music, because that is the soundtrack of my life. That is where I am most comfortable. That is where I'm at home. I don't have to listen to the words. I already know all the words. I don't have to listen for the time signatures or whatever, because we've all heard the songs. We know about the chord changes in different songs, and we know that the guy's going to scream at this part and whatever. But one day I was in my car, and I was having what I would consider to be a spiritual moment. Although again, I don't make there's no dichotomy in my mind. I am who I am every day. I believe what I believe every day, every minute, whether I'm in church, whether I'm at Walmart, whether I'm on a podcast, whether I'm working on a guitar. It's not like I'm changing personalities. Hopefully I'm not. If I'm changing personalities, then that's a broader issue for me as a person of faith. If I'm pretending at any point in my life to be something I am not, it's just an integrity issue. We don't even have to talk about sin to appreciate integrity and just being your authentic self, as people like Manning and others would write about. But I remember being in my car, and I had Van Halen on, and I can't remember the particular song. It's Eddie, and he's one of those solo moments. And I just started praying, thanking the Lord for music, for just the fact that he gave us this beautiful thing, man. I'm going to cry, Oob. You're going to make me cry on stinking Saturday morning on a guitar channel.
That's great. That'll be the second one I've had crying on my interviews. It'll become a regular thing.
It'll be a thing, man. But yeah, it's just that my view of God, he gave us this thing called music, and it is beautiful, and he gave it to us to enjoy it as one of the enjoyable parts of life. And so when I play the guitar, whether I'm playing with everybody knows my worship, my gigging context is a joyful noise crowd and all the stuff that I'll skip all the disclaimers on it. Church services, men's retreats, conferences, Bible school graduations, whether I'm playing that or I'm playing Give Me Three Steps, man, I feel the same way. It is palatable to me, the beauty and being in touch with music. The stuff that 2 Yards is putting out, man, where he mixes the music with the visual. I think we all know that music makes you feel a certain way. The stuff that he and Keith do, man, you play Joan Jett, and I'm like, rock on with your bad self, man. I mean, when I say I feel that, what I mean is I feel it, and I appreciate it as art, whether we're artists or not. Ella lives with us. Everybody knows Ella, I think, who hangs out with us. And if you don't, that's my 9-year-old granddaughter. And, I was driving down the road with her the other day. Her mom was taking us to the airport, and she's in the back seat, and she's watching her shows, on her device or whatever. And I'm just watching her. And I'm just watching her discover new things, And I'm like, man, I bet when I'm trying to figure out a riff of some song, the Lord is looking at me the same way I'm looking at Ella right now. Bless his heart. He's having such a good time trying to figure that out. Maybe he'll get it one day, and just it's parental. And so anyway.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's still in the comments or not.
No,
man.
they are actually, and I want to get to one of them. So, Chris C.D. Nelson had commented that their church found out through his wife that he plays. So now on a weekly basis, he's being asked to play, and he's not sure if he's ready for it and in front of actual people. So I can actually talk to that, and after I do that, I know that you can talk to it a little bit as well. So Chris, when Brandy and I lived in Elko, Nevada, I'm also, I don't talk greatly about it, but I'm a Christian, and specifically I'm a Catholic. So Ted and I are just we're neighbors. We are spiritual neighbors. We'll put it that way. But so when we were in Elko, Nevada, we were in a very small parish, and Brandy immediately joined the choir, that's perfectly fine. She loves to sing. She's a singer. She has a beautiful voice. She writes beautiful music. And I jumped into being a lector, which is awesome. But one of the other things that I did was that, hang on just a moment. I'm picking up some.
Did I mess something up?
Back through your, there we go. No, we're fine. For a second there, I was picking myself back up through your speakers. So, and I was a lector, so because I wanted to be in ministry as well. But this was in the middle of my dry on and off 30-year guitar playing thing, and I had hit a rut and hadn't really gotten anywhere for a while, and so I put the guitar down. Still picked it up and played it every now and then, but I kind of got a feeling of wanting to go and try to play some guitar in the music ministry, even though by this point in time, I was still cowboy chords. Forget music theory; it didn't exist as far as I was concerned. I could look at the sheet music and see what the chord is at the top and go, okay, I need to change from this chord to this chord, and we'll figure some sort of a strumming pattern out type thing. But what happened with Brandy and I was we ended up falling in with a group that would go on Saturdays to the retirement home and bring communion on a communion service with the deacon out to them. And they had some of the choir members have been going out there and singing for them, and it was like, you know what, these poor folks don't get a chance to see any real live music or anything like that. So I started going out and playing guitar there, and basically ended up leading the musical part at that point. And here's the biggest thing, Chris. I had a massive breakthrough of that plateau I couldn't get through when I started playing with others in front of people. It made a big difference from playing alone, sitting there in a room, in an environment where you're a little bit more in control. You can stop, restart if you have these sort of things. It it helped me a lot of breaking through some of these mental blocks of having to have perfection, and rather that was when I started learning, hey, the part of being a guitarist is that you're there to serve the music, you're there to serve the song. And it put all of that into play and into practice, and it opened up a lot of stuff for me as a guitarist. So my suggestion to you, Chris, is absolutely, if they give you a chance to come out there and play, go do it.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Oob. I just want to make sure you can actually hear me because I did have a
You're fine.
Bluetooth issue. Okay. So Chris, what I would say, I'll pull back the curtain here, as if, right? Oob sent me an email about our conversation today, and he said, no pressure to perform. And it didn't have, and he didn't even give me a context for it, whether that was trying to pick up my guitar and play or be whatever, and I think there's something about performance. So I'd like to say two things that are meant to be helpful. The first thing is that worship should not be a performance. And if you are trying to get the chords right and you're pouring yourself over the lead sheet and you're in the book trying to get all the words right, I think that's going to suck the joy right out of it. The experiences of worship, like in the Old Testament, David danced naked before the Lord. Now, I'm not encouraging you to do that, Chris. I'm just saying, worship is often sloppy, but it is communal. Okay, so here's the thing to me: if you have a group of people who are encouraging you to play, what do you think they're going to do after you play? They're probably going to encourage you. And so I think, who was that? I was watching these two actors talk about, I think it was Jason Bateman and who's the kid with the PRS guitars? What's his name? The PRS guy. Come on, he's like a
No clue.
John Mayer.
There you go.
I knew I'd get it, John Mayer. And Jason Bateman's asking John Mayer, man, how do you get over being nervous? And he's like, you're kidding me. You've been an actor for all this year. He said, yeah, but you look so comfortable on stage. And John Mayer says, Jason, when I look out in the crowd, I think to myself, every one of these people, if I needed a place to crash tonight, they'd let me stay at their house. And that chills him right out. Chris, those people who are asking you to play, they love you, man. Mm-hmm. You are doing them a solid by helping them to get their worship on. So don't get sucked into performance and what people think. Now, this is going to sound counterintuitive to what I just said, but bear with me. Worship, you have an audience of one, and that one is the God that you are worshiping. And so don't get sucked into what people think, and it'll just paralyze you, and it'll suck the joy right out of it, man. I'm going to tell my brother Les story. Oob, can I do that?
Go right ahead.
We're running short on time. Maybe.
Now
I committed the.
So as I said
committed
earlier,
the cardinal sin.
No. As I said while we were talking earlier before going live, we're on Ubi time, and Ubi determines when things start and when things stop. So you take as much time as you need.
All right. Well, I'll tell the Brother Les story because this is relevant. So I teach at a Bible college. I actually teach at several Bible colleges. Now, that's not something that's come out on the channel before, but that's just part of my professional is what I do. And one of them is an institute. And we were having our first graduation for a West Dallas campus. And one of the brothers who was going to graduate is like the worship pastor. He's a wonderful keyboard player, Brother Les, that you guys have hung out with me. If you saw the video from the last gig I did, Brother Les is the brother breaking down the keys. And I asked Brother Les, I said, in a room, front of a room full of people, I said, Brother Les, I got a couple questions for you. In a room full of people, what's he going to say, right? I said, Brother Les, at the graduation, I think we should have a band. And he said, oh, I think that'd be great. He calls me pastor, right reverend, or bishop when he's feeling himself. And I said, all right. Those are all jokes, by the way, except for the pastor part. He doesn't mean that. And he said, yeah, that'd be great if we had some worship. I said, well, Brother Les, will you put a band together? Oh, yeah, Pastor, I put a band together. I said, Brother Les, can I be in the band?
That was my favorite part of that story was you basically bullying him into do it and then asking permission to join the band. I love that part.
Oh man. And so he said, yeah, sure, we'll let you play guitar. All right, so so before our first practice, I'm hounding him. It's me, we've all met. It's Ted being Ted, okay? Brother Les, I need the song list. I need the song list. I need the song list. I need to know the keys. I need to know the keys. So I went to rehearsal the first time. I had taken all the songs, I had found them on the interwebs, I had downloaded the keys, I had practiced them in those keys. I had created this cool little binder that, had I really been full of myself, I would have made a binder for everyone. But my thought is always, they're musicians, I'm just me. So I've got my little legalistic binder. I've got the rules right here. The rules say we're going to play this in B flat and blah, blah, blah. And I get to rehearsal, and Brother Les says, oh, no, we're not going to do that in B flat. We're going to do it in G. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I don't know how to do that, Jack. I mean, who do you think I am? You think I'm a real musician? Anyway, so he did that. He proceeded to do that to every song. So I went home that night and I created a new songbook with all the upgraded chords that he had given me and the new lead sheets and all that. Went back to practice the next time and he did the exact same thing. No, we're going to go to F now. And I'm like, what are you doing? But I didn't know. I would never say that. I just said, yeah, sure, yeah. Watch me, Johnny B. Good and B flat, watch me for the changes, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then he threw out it's the 1, 5, and 6 chord. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have trouble finding the root chord. Well, I don't know any of these other intervals. What are you talking about?
I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea. It's like CD asking me for the riff, and you saying, send me the riff so I can make it up. I have no idea what those chords are. I don't know what they're called. I wouldn't know how to chart anything out. So I go through every rehearsal. We change it up. But what Brother Les did is he made me a better musician because I showed up to the gig, which was a graduation. And I was completely relaxed knowing he's going to change the keys and I'm going to figure it out and it's going to be fun. And it was just fun. So I think for me, CD, this is just me, and for anybody else, if this is helpful, when I make things too analytical and too structured and see music as math equations, and it just sucks the life of it right out for me, man. When Cal gave me the best advice when we did that blues collab, he said, Ted, just have fun. Just have fun, man. And I think I shared this already, maybe. See, okay, I'm going to play the old man card now. I'm going to say it one time, and this is it. Because I'm old, maybe I don't remember if I've said this in a video before or not. Well, I think I said it on the live stream. But there was a moment in that collab where I could hear Cal. He was playing the bass and he was singing. And I could hear Brant playing the acoustic guitar. And I couldn't always hear him because of the way the mix was. And I had my guitar and I was sitting here and I could hear my brothers jamming. And I was jamming with them, and it just filled me with joy, man. It was like we were in the same room. We're hanging out. We're kicking back. We're just sharing our love for music and guitars, man. And CD, man, that's worship too, man. I mean, that's the experience of what leading a congregation should be. It's because we want you. I would think you would want your people to be in that mind frame where they don't have to sing on key to sing. You know what I mean? So I will say this, Oob, just since I mentioned the non-instrumental church and all that. I went to Bible college and I discovered what I knew, what I thought in my heart, that they were wrong about the instruments, and actually played my first chapel service in Bible college with an old acoustic guitar with a buddy of mine who's passed on now. But and then from that point on, most of the churches that I've served in or pastored have been churches that have a band. And if they have a band, can I be in the band? Sure, Pastor, we'll let you. Wink, wink, we'll let them play.
And that's when you find out that they've unplugged your amp. They'll let you play as much as you want, but the amp doesn't get turned on.
Well, what was so cool about it, man, is that the first church that I pastored, so to speak, that had any kind of band idea, they had a lady playing piano. And that's all they had, and she said, I'd like to get. I said, what do you think about a band? She said, well, I'd like to get a band together, but we don't have anybody. So I figured piano. Guys, you can put it in the comments how you think the band should be structured. But I said, well, if you got a piano, I'm going to buy a bass guitar and I'm going to play with you. I'll play a little bit of rhythm, under your keys, and we'll just get in where we can fit in, which nobody really had appreciation for. So I went and I bought some $99 Ibanez, or was it a Yamaha? I think it was a Yamaha bass. And so I played that. And then we had another person, my son-in-law wanted to play. So I taught him how to play the bass well enough to be in the band. So then I bought one of my Epiphone LPs, the very first Honey Sunburst guitar. I just love that guitar, man. Anyway, I can't talk about Honey. I'll cry for the second time on the stream. And then we had a guy that played the drums, and we kind of recruited him. And then my wife and our two daughters sang, and and then my brother-in-law could sing a little bit and wanted to learn how to play guitar, and so I started teaching him some guitar. Then he picked it up really quick, and he was singing. So I ended up sitting on that stool that you see in almost every video, playing B.B. King riffs in worship music, between the phrasing, and everybody loved it. And I've been doing that in every church I've been in that's had a band, is just trying to play. I mean, it's not like I'm changing. It's not like, well, there's YouTube Ted, there's Christian Ted. Oh man, it's just Ted. It's not like there's Christian guitar player Ted and non-Christian guitar playing Ted. It's just music, man. And so, at least to me, I think there is a line probably between secular and sacred. I don't think it's nearly as a line of demarcation, musically speaking, anyway. At least not for me. So I think walking with the Lord is about finding beauty in the things that He's given us, and yeah, man. So I think music's a big part of that. I think you're a big part of that, Oob. Everybody I've made friends with through my channel. I think YouTube is a gift, man. It's a gift from the Lord to me to get to meet you guys and just hang out, talk about guitars and life occasionally. So,
for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Now I will say there is a raging debate. I won't say a debate, but there's a strong discussion going on in the chat right now about.
I'm missing it.
Well, it's about people talking about playing with heart and not caring about theory, and then also people talking about theory itself. And the reality for that, it comes around to two things. A, you don't need to understand something to do it. You don't need to understand the inner workings of why a particular guitar phrase, a particular progression, a particular combination of notes in a particular chord will evoke a feeling or response, to be able to play those to evoke those feelings and responses. So you don't have to have theory to be a player. You can get there through just determination and passion. Your ear, your mind is going to tell you this sounds right together, this doesn't sound right together. The only thing that theory does is explains the why of that. So theory in and of itself can't produce great music, but you can use theory with a knowledge of what great music is to create even more good music than you can without it. But you don't have to have it to be a good musician. That's the Ubi take on it. What's the TED take on that?
Yeah, so for me, just for context, I did take like music appreciation in college and have tried to study music just a little bit. Although when I play, I don't think about any of that. I do think that it kind of depends on what you're after. I think I'm going to come back to authenticity again. And I think if you're wired up where theory is your jam, rock on with your bad self. Do it all day long. If you're not wired for that, do what you're wired for. I personally don't see anything challenging about that myself. Giving room for everybody kind of to do what they do. But the other side of the coin is that Bob Dylan. Take Bob for an example. So I saw a 60 Minutes interview with Bob Dylan one day, and I think it was Maury Schaefer. You want to explain to 2 yards who Maury Schaefer and what 60 Minutes is? Oop, we won't take time to do that. 2 yard, you'll have to Google what 60 Minutes, Bob Dylan and Maury Schaefer, I guess. And I think it was Maury. Probably wrong. But the interviewer is asking Bob Dylan. He said, man, how did you... you wrote the soundtrack to the protest movement of, during the civil rights kind of movement, and Bob Dylan said, hey man, I was just writing music, man. People just took my stuff and made it whatever they wanted it to be, man, And so it goes back to whether or not people are purposeful in making art, here's a t-shirt idea, or whether art just happens, and who determines what art is? And does theory contribute to art, or does it detract from art? So without taking a side as to whether theory is bad or good, I would never say theory is bad, and I would never say just burying your head in the sand, pretending like there's no such thing as chord progressions. That's probably not a great idea either, right? So I think we can all agree about that. But I do think that there's a zone where if you're just authentic, and I think most people who produce beautiful things have no idea how beautiful the things are that they produce. Because what happens is that, to me anyway, when I get stuck trying to play the right notes, I get paralyzed. And when I release myself from that and say, well, whatever's going to come out, it's going to come out. And I do that in many areas of my life. And I imagine all of us have either, some of us are not me when I say us, but some of our community are retired folks. They've had their careers. They're enjoying whatever it is they're doing now. Others are still very much in the corporate world or the blue collar world or whatever world we're all living in. I'm traveling like crazy doing my trainings and stuff like that. So some of us are still super connected into some of that. But in every area of life, there is technically a right way and a wrong way to do everything, right? Your car came with an instruction manual. Has anyone ever read the car manual?
Very few people. Very few.
I mean, it's nobody when they're cruising, Let me get the manual out and make sure. Oh yeah, okay. I guess I'm doing. No, man, you're just cruising. And I think that what can get lost, at least for me, I watch, I watch people talk about, I mentioned tabs earlier, and I'm not trying to be anti-tab. I just look at it and I don't get it. It just doesn't. It's not that I'm not going to say I'm old and my mind can't do it. That's ridiculous. I could discipline myself, and I'm sure that I could figure it out. I don't have a desire to figure it out. And I watch enough of that. I watch people talk about enough of it where I eventually just click off of it and just go, nope, that's one step too far. It's kind of like me trying to learn, Swahili or something, which would have been helpful when I was in Africa if I knew Swahili. But could I do it? Sure. Is it enjoyable? I don't know. Would it help my experience as a human being? I don't know. So I think musically, I think if your vein is, okay, I'm going to be a studio musician. Although, check this out. I watched Becoming Led Zeppelin on the plane. Have you seen that? It's like a documentary, and I don't know
I've seen
how old
parts
it is.
of it,
It was
yeah.
free on. I was free. Two things stood out in my mind. One is that John Paul Jones, is that his name? That's his name, right? It doesn't sound right. John.
No, it's
It
right.
doesn't sound right today. That is an old man moment right there. That John Paul Jones got his start playing. A priest asked him to play at the parish. And he says, "Well, I'm not a real religious man, but I took the gig." But the fact that they were studio musicians, and to hear Jimmy Page talk about being a studio musician, and he didn't quite say the words, he didn't really understand music, but he kind of said the words, "I really don't understand all the technical aspects of it." So that aside, those anomalies aside, I would say if you want to be a professional musician who walks into a studio, you're a guitar for hire, then you better be able to read all the music and you better know all the chords. You need to be able to diminish the seventh and know the 1, 5, 9, 12s and all that, and the half steps and the whole steps and the triplet, whatever. If you're not, is knowing that helpful? It could be. When you pick up the guitar, is it fun? Man, guys, there was a lot of days. I'll have to tell the truth and shame the devil. There were years when picking up a guitar was not fun, man. Because it was work. It was work. And I know that there are artists and musicians who talk about how the work ethic of it. And I'm not saying Keith, I can hear Keith typing. Is Keith typing, Ubi? You can tell me. Keith, I'm not saying don't practice. I'm not saying don't practice. I'm saying when guitar playing sucks the life out of you, you're doing it wrong. And maybe what you're playing that sounds incredibly jacked up to you will sound like beautiful music to someone else.
True.
That's what I think.
No, that's a solid way to look at it.
Well,
So-
I appreciate it.
And I'll say this much: it comes out to what are you getting out of being playing guitar at the end of the day, and so
That's right.
If it's the way I always look at it as this is number one, as much as I will play around and make fun of, you're a better player than I am, you make me want to throw my guitar out the window, all this other stuff. That's self-deprecating humor, and that's on purpose, and that's the
Yeah.
safe space of comedy for me. But in reality,
Yep.
we're not competing with the other guitarists. You're only competing just with yourself. And the way I look at it is, at the end of the day, I sit down and ask myself two questions. One, am I any better today than I was yesterday? And two, did I enjoy playing the guitar today? And if I can answer yes to either of those questions, it's a successful day. And if I answer yes to both of them, then that's exactly what I'm trying to reach as a guitarist. And here's the coolest part. If I answer no to both of them, then the answer is, well, tomorrow's another day. So
Yeah.
that's my philosophy on getting on the overall encompassing arc of the guitar journey.
Yeah, yeah. There's an expression in the faith world. The Sabbath was made for man. Man wasn't made for the Sabbath. And I think there's a way that theory was created for us. We weren't created to be a slave to theory.
Yeah.
And I think when we see the whole competition thing, I mean, that's a whole other hour. And I know you're on Ubi time, but we probably don't have that. But I see that so much just in my little nook and cranny of the YouTube world, you know. As J-Man says, a very small fish in a very big pond, you know, kind of just the competition and the authenticity challenges, you know, that are abounding. Man, I don't want to do one thing, particularly the older I get. I want to do things that I enjoy. And I want to have a day where I spend 60% of my time doing things that I enjoy. Am I going to have to do the 40% of adulting that everybody has to do? Sure. Am I going to have to put up with so-and-so and this and that? Sure. But if I can find a spot where I can at least enjoy a good 60% of my life, I think I come out on top. Because I have been that guy that's been a slave to the corporate world and a slave to legalistic thinking. And I was the guy, man. I think I told the story earlier. Stormed out of the band room, you know, my best friend's mom's living room with all the gear I could carry, and came back for more because we were going to be great. And the way you get great is study this music and study this and study that. So I'm just saying I could be a little jaded from my personal experience, and I'm self-aware enough to know that my lens is only my lens, and it may not be the right lens for anybody. But I think it's the right lens for me, at least where I am in my life right now. So I think if studying theory, if that's your jam and you dig it and you see results and it's helping you to achieve your goals, do it. But anything that you're doing to try to get somebody to sign off on you, nah, man, I'm done with that. I don't need anybody's approval, man.
Yeah, and that
So,
world
I
of
think-
trying to build something just from your music, that's a difficult
Yeah.
world. I'm not saying people should
Yeah.
never, because that may be their calling. That may be literally their vocation in life is to be that person who is music is my work. But I think for you and for and I would say 99% of the people in our YouTube community, our music's our passion. It's our love. It's for some of it's just a hobby. For some of it's a touch more than a hobby. Like I said, it's more of a passion. But
Yeah.
it's not our jobs. It's not our end all be all. Now that's not to say that we don't have some very talented folks in our community that couldn't do that. That couldn't go out there and make a name for themselves, get on a record label or self-produce an indie album and become a touring pro and have thousands and thousands of people lining up to buy tickets to come see them play. I'm not saying that that's not something that couldn't be done within our community, but I think the majority of us understand that there is a level that we are willing to push to where our passion goes from being something we love to do to something we have to do. And a lot of us are skirting right up against that edge at times. And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, no, I need to do this for me. I need to play for myself, because I originally picked this guitar up to get what was in here out. And right now, I'm not getting what's in here out. I'm actually internalizing too much stuff, and it's killing what I'm doing. So, and there's no shame in that at all.
Yeah, and I think context is key on that deal. I think you're absolutely right. And again, it's anecdotal, right? But if you got a biography from as many famous musicians as you could find, and you ask one question in your research, how many of those famous musicians knew theory, studied at Berkeley? You know, I think you'd be surprised at how many people just never got to that technical expertise of the musicality of things. That's anecdotal, right? It's not a math equation,
No.
for sure. And I don't need anybody to agree or disagree with what I'm saying on it. I'm just saying my perspective is that so okay, so that free okay, so now you're free. So we come back to, well, if I'm free, the only question is, do I want to study theory or do I not? And does it help me or doesn't it? And if it doesn't help me to feel good and have a good day about my guitar playing, now somebody's going to say, yeah, man, but practice stinks and, it's not supposed to be fun, How many times do we hear that as kids, right? Our parents told us, our
Yes.
teachers told us, our employers told us, it's not supposed to be fun, So I'm not saying, pushing yourself to practice. I think that's a good thing. Learning new chords is a good thing, and learning new songs is a good thing. But I just mean, man, if you look at it and it's like looking at physics, I just don't know that at my age, given my interest, I don't think I want to spend a lot of time in that. I've got a book I've got more than one book behind me. One of those books is a book on theory that one of my friends wrote. I've tried a couple of times. I just don't have the want to get into it, man. I just.
Well, and I'll tell you. No, go ahead.
No, I was just I have two thoughts pop into my head because it's me, but we were driving back from the airport. And I thought about, and I meant to ask you guys, so if anybody knows somebody who's doing this, drop in the comments for me. So I've given 4 of my grandchildren guitars now, and they all want to know how to play. And so I've thought about, well, maybe I should do, Poppy teaches, happy birthday or something on the guitar. And there's probably 1,000 people who are making videos for children to help them learn how to play guitar that are like legit and not scams and all those kinds. So if anybody knows of any of those, let me know in the comments. I'll go back and watch this, not so I can see how dapper I look in this context, but so that I can catch your comments and respond to anybody who might have said something to me. Just know I can't see you, but I do appreciate you. So because of that, then that got me thinking, well, how would I do that? How would I approach? So my approach to Ella, for her, she only knows 2 chords. She knows E minor and she knows D. You know why she knows E minor and she knows D? Because she's into this song called Ordinary, which I'd never heard of before. And so I Googled it, and it said E minor and D is basically, when I looked at it, I kind of started her. And she learned it because she loves the song. She didn't learn it because she wants to study music. She wants to play music. She wants to. So could I have given her well, here's the circle of fifths, At the same time, what's really funny to me is that I had played guitar for about, I'm going to say it was about 36 years, when I discovered that guitar chords follow the alphabet.
Really?
It never occurred to me. Now, I'm not the sharpest pencil in the stack. I'm imagining everybody's figured that out. But I never put it together. Oh, it's A through G. Oh. Gee, that would have been helpful like 30 years ago. So,
yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, well, is that theory though? I mean, when does theory start and theory end? Are we just talking about anyway?
Well, rolling it back to something you just said there actually is my own personal thoughts on theory. So Ella was really interested and attacked that E minor and the D because it meant something to her. And that's actually where I think where
Yeah.
theory
Yeah.
comes into play, because I wasn't super into theory myself until I started listening or ran into something on YouTube, which is an actual musical composer. He's also a man of faith, but he's actually a full-on composer. Um, has scores that he's written for plays, movies, and other productions and those sort of things. And he's got a channel where he breaks down musical pieces from an actual producer, an actual composer's standpoint, where he dives into the theory on them and all this other stuff. And he's got perfect pitch, and he knows exactly what key they're in, and the nuances of, oh wow, it's cool that they did that, or yeah, this is kind of boring, that sort of stuff. But he started doing a Metal Monday, where he started breaking down those songs that I loved, and I've always been I'd love to write songs like that. And suddenly he's starting to talk about the theory. Oh, so they used a flat 6 here instead of this, or there's that flat 7 there that makes it sound so big and expansive. And he's starting to talk all these things, and I'm hitting pause because I'm going to go, what does this mean? What does this term mean? And so I started learning theory because of that. And so it rolled me into the point of, I want to be able to take a look at something in the same light that he was able to break it down, so I can then internalize that and go, okay, now when I go to write a riff, if I use this piece because it did that, then what if I use that piece? But that's the reason I use theory, not because I can't come up with a riff on my own, or I can't figure out what sounds good by itself or not. But it's, like I said, it's not this sounds good together. Anybody who can play can go, okay, this chord change sounds great. Wow, that chord change doesn't work, that sort of thing. And that's theory in use. But the theory is actually the why. But the why only matters if you care about the why. If you don't care about why does this sound good, instead if you only care about, I just want to sound good, you don't need to know why it's making it sound good, just this sounds good, go play it. That's all that matters at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some tremendous truth to that. It's supposed to be fun, man. It's supposed to be enjoyment. It's not supposed to be a lot of work. And I think the more time, and again, maybe it's just me, but the more time I spend trying to figure things out and thinking, things are so much more simpler than they appear to be. How many times have any of us, we want to learn how to play one of our favorite songs, and when we listen to it on the radio, it just sounds so complex and dark and mysterious, and every guitar part that I ever hear, I think they're like way up the neck doing all this, and come to find out they're on the second chord playing 2 open strings and a fret or 2. And it kind of takes the magic out of it a little bit.
A little.
Truthfully, but it's just, I don't want to say it's not that complicated, but it's funny how much more simple things are. And it could just be that Keith is a great teacher, I think. And I've watched a few other people on YouTube with their vids. I think there are people who can teach, and there are people who are maybe not as helpful as others in teaching content of any kind, including theory. And so it could depend on the source of that. I can remember watching a YouTube channel, and the guy was, he does a lot of repair stuff, and, pretty big name guy. And he said, I learned everything in a book. You should go get this book. It's like, 325 pages of guitar stuff. It's like Guitar Encyclopedia of Repairs. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying a book. That's funny, because I got about 500 volumes of books I'm surrounded by at this very moment, but in topics that I enjoy and appreciate. But, A book, really? Is that the best? You asked me about my journey. I mentioned the Mel Bay chord book. Still to this day, I credit that with most of what I know about chords and progressions. And so I, I think the simplicity is good. I think that having fun is good. And I don't think it's about what you play, I think it's how you play it. I think you can play an E chord like a bull in a china closet and it's going to sound awful. I think if you play it with a little bit of a softer attack and maybe emphasize, here or there, it's going to sound beautiful. And I think we all know that. I think all of us who practice to get to the point where our chords sound as beautiful as other chords, or if we're into metal, as harsh as other chords, or tonally, or whatever it is you're chasing. No pun intended. I think that slowing down and finding the beauty of things and not getting caught up and sucked up into what you've got to have and who you've got to be and why you've got to be it. Competition. I just don't think that's helpful for me.
For sure. Ted,
is there still a raging debate?
No, everybody's absolutely agreeing what we're talking about. You and I could literally just probably sit here and talk for the rest of this day, and we still wouldn't scratch the surface of everything.
I heard a rumor that you and Brandy, and tell my sister I did not sing the song for her today unless she's watching.
Oh, she's watching.
Just so she knows. Just tell her. I'm trying not to, Brandy. I'm trying not to sing it every time I see you, but it's really hard. When you and Brandy come to Texas, Claire and I are going to take you out for a nice dinner somewhere, and we're going to be able to sit and chill and talk all day long. But I think where you're going with this is the good folks anybody's been hanging out with us for this long surely got something better to do with their day.
Pretty much, Ted. But what I always do now, two things. I'm going to do something slightly different. Number one, we're going to have Ted back on because we have so much more we got to talk about. We talked about past Ted. We haven't talked about current nor future Ted at all. So at some point in time, we're going to schedule another and get you back on here as well. But number two, if you obviously, I'm going to guarantee almost every single person in our chat knows Ted and his channel. But now is the time where we throw the floor open for Ted to shill and tell us all about what he's got coming up and what we should be looking for. So take it away, Ted.
Oh my goodness! Well, thank you for that opportunity. If you don't know the channel, I'd love for you to stop by the channel and hang out with us. We do a live stream every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with some cool folks. And by cool folks, I never mean me, by the way. It's the folks who hang out on the regular. We do have channel memberships if you do that kind of thing and want to become a channel member and support what we do on the channel. We really appreciate that. We also have a merch store out there. Future projects coming up. We're going to wrap up the SBH project by Monday. Ella and I will do a premiere, the finale of the Ellacaster on Tuesday, and then we've got lots of other projects in the works. So, yeah, appreciate that, Oob, the opportunity. But, yeah, that's all I got, man.
There we go. All right, so it's been the Embrace the Suck podcast, episode number 3. We got Ted from TED Talks Guitars and Life. And again, we could easily have done another 3 hours of this podcast, so we're going to have to schedule something else down the road. Just some housekeeping notes for the podcast. Next week will not be a Embrace the Suck podcast. It will instead be a For the Love of Guitars, because Keith is making his return back on, so we will be over on Keith's channel. And then we will be coming back the week after that. And I have a guest scheduled, I think, for that week. But we are still looking for guests. So if you are interested in coming on the Embrace the Suck podcast, very simple, theubi@gmail.com. Give me an email. We'll talk about it. We'll see about getting you on there. I've got to like I said, I'm trying to remember. I think. Oh no, take that back. I feel they aren't here in the chat, which is an oddity. But we'll be talking to Baby Boy Mulligan, BBM, will be our guest, not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after. So that is who we'll have on for that. And don't forget, we do still have the process of we're trying to get Will Red some equipment so he can produce more content for us. He's already thrown some really good stuff up on his channel using just a spark go and grit, determination, baling wire, and good vibes. He was able to get some stuff up and on his channel. Those sound great. I'm really looking forward to what it's going to be like when I get this laptop. I have a laptop that I had that I was able to resurrect from the dead, thanks also to the efforts of Chris C.D. Nelson. Sent me over a new power brick for it, a new hard drive for it, and even rustled up a new Windows key for it. So we've got it completely up to live, brand new running. I'm going to throw in a Pocket Master so that he'll have something that will actually be able to be used as an interface. That's all going to get shipped out. I have put that link once or twice in the channel. I'm going to go drop it in there again. This is actually going to be the blueprint for a new JREG called the JREG Lite. It's a slightly lesser build than the main JREG. And so Will's going to be kind of my guinea pig on it as well. What we need now in the goal there is we're looking to make sure that we have enough money for shipping and anything else that we may decide that Will needs to kind of get him up and running. He was on one of our previous podcasts. You can go watch and see all about Will and his journey. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up in here. Again, thanks, Ted, for being with us today. Thank all of you in the chat for being along with us today. Thank you for being on my and Ted's guitar journeys. And let us be a part of your guitar journey in the future as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget, there's our Patreon supporters on the screen there. I would read them out, but I don't have the screen where I can actually read it from here. You know who you are. You're on there. Ted's on there, too. Ted's out in the parking lot. The Patreon link has come up a couple times. It's down there in the description if you need it. Once again, thank you, everybody, for letting us be a part of what's going on, and we will see you on our next stream.